Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Beautiful soul, are you yearning for sacred community? Now more than ever, women are being called to gather in sacred circle for connection, community, and transformation. If your soul is shouting yes, and you yearn to come together for live circles twice a month with other women on the path of self-discovery, while also having access to a transformational curriculum of over 50 classes taught by leading visionaries, then you'll feel right at home on the soul-nourishing virtual campus of Inspired Living University. The doors are open for just a few times a year, and you don't want to miss it. So get on the wait list at inspiredlivinguniversity.com. I am so happy that you are all here with me today and joining me for this episode of Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, Mindset Elevation Coach, Intentional Living Guide, and publisher of the beloved Aspire magazine. You know, my friends, it's been said that life's a series of moments and we get to choose how we live them. That wisdom came from today's guest, Elizabeth DeCivo, author of Choose Your Moments, How the Sudden Loss of My Mother Taught Me How to Live. And she is dedicated to redefining the word moments from this point in time into a tool we can use to enhance our lives. Elizabeth is a writer, communications and business development professional who has managed the careers of Olympic figure skaters and produced live sporting events and tours throughout the world. She earned a psychology degree from the Catholic University of America and a coaching certification from the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, with additional studies in neuroscience, positive intelligence, and positive psychology. I am so excited to have you here today, Elizabeth. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you.
Well, I've loved our conversation. We were chatting before the show went on, and we're like so deep in the conversation. We're like, oh my God, we got to tape our show. So I have a question that I always ask everyone when they come, because I've discovered after almost 9 years of doing this show, that's hundreds of conversations. I've always noticed that many of the women, no matter what they're doing in the world for work or for a career, their journey led them to the current work they're doing. So, what led you to write this book?
That's a great question. So in the book, I take the reader through a 24-hour period of me. I live in Spain and I went home to New Jersey and my mom died suddenly. And in that experience, which obviously is very sad, I learned that life is a series of moments and we get to choose how to live them. Because what happened, of course, I started thinking, what do we do, not knowing it was her last week or her last days? Did we do in the last moments of her life? And instead of worrying about, wrinkles, gray hair, money, work, men, or whatever topic that could come up that we worry about, I started thinking, did she drink tea? She loves tea. Did she see the ocean? She loves the ocean. Were there flowers in the house? Like things like that really matter. And I understood that all the things, or often the things that we worry about and think about, don't matter. All that matters are the moments that we spend with each other and in life. And it
I
was
love
such a profound message that I got on the day of her funeral, that I felt compelled to share it with everybody.
I think that's such a beautiful mission, in something that I think for those of us who have been on the personal spiritual development path for a while, me included, it's going to be 33 years. that was a life lesson that was hard for me to come to. Like, because we're programmed, we're trained, just push through life, keep going, focus on the future, and we're kind of never in the moment, right? I had to reprogram myself to be fully here now, and to be honest, sometimes it's still a struggle. So
Exactly. It is still is still a
yeah,
struggle, even for me. But the interesting thing is, it's funny. I was listening to read off my curriculum and my studies, and I thought to myself, and the most profound moment, using the word, of my life was that moment in learning that message. So, regardless of all the things I had studied before, it came down to something so simple yet so profound. And we live in the world, we have jobs, we have families, we have relationships, so it's easy to think about the future. What am I doing in 5 minutes, and not really even pay attention to what's happening in the moment. But sometimes when there's tragedies is when we stop and reflect. And obviously the message is out there from various teachers, coaches, spiritual leaders about living in the moment. And this was the thing that really brought me there, to realize that life is a series of moments, and I'm going to choose how I can live them and how I will live them. I saw life much more as a journey than the everyday kind of heaviness of it. And I started asking myself questions of, do I want to be spending my moments doing this? Do I want to spend my moments worrying about this situation, complaining about this problem, being in this job, in this relationship, whatever it may be? And really reflecting, not to emphasize the scarcity of time, but actually the immensity of time and resources we have to live well.
yeah, in your case, it took that, like, personal moment of pain to come to that awareness, but once you have that awareness, I think it's always there. I know it is for me. We may become disconnected from it occasionally when life gets lifey, as I like to say, but,
That's a good way to say it.
oh, yeah, and one of the things, there's no accidents. Like, this morning, right before this taping, I live in the middle of the woods on a spring-fed pond on a private dirt road, and I went for a walk, Elizabeth. And I came up the path, and if you go to my personal Facebook page after this call, you'll see it. I was going up this path, and all the leaves, the golden leaves, it was a path of golden leaves on my road. They were all falling around me. And I just made a post and shared the video. And I said, in that moment, I just was like so in awe, and I was fully in the moment. I had my arms outstretched, watching all the leaves and acorns fall on me. It was so freaking beautiful. And it was so beautiful to me that I could experience it in that moment, that I actually made a post about it an hour before you jumped on, not knowing where this deep conversation was going to go. So,
Exactly. And I love for people to have moments like that. And because that way you really soak in what is happening to you around you, and you see the beauty in a lot of things. I titled the book, How the Sudden Loss of My Mother Taught Me How to Live, eh, so people would understand the capital MOM, in moments, but also inspiration for everyday life, to be able to give a tool on how can we incorporate these messages into our everyday life. So it's not something that we only do when we're taking a walk or meditating or in a yoga class. you how can we do it on a daily basis so our lives are enriched?
yeah, and that's that in that moment that I just experienced an hour ago. I was so fully present, and I gotta say, my whole heart opened up in gratitude, and that's what I actually shared in my post. Like, I felt so connected. We can't feel that if we're not here. And have you noticed that too? Is in those moments there's like this, I don't know, this moment of cherishing life itself?
I think I'm cherishing life itself constantly now. When you lose a parent, which whether you have already, and all of us will at some point, or losing anybody, any change or transition can alter your perspective a bit. But it's interesting. I talk about in the beginning of the book the shock of losing my mom, and it's that kind of harsh separation that you feel as a human. um and what I found in that later is that after that harsh separation of not being with her not being in her physical form, that disconnection allowed me to be, or fostered me to be, connected to everything else. So, believing that, obviously, I don't believe in death per se. I believe that there's a change, there's a transition to another form, and that my mother exists and those that we have lost exist in another form. So that it's a way to feel connected. I feel more connected now to the world, actually, than I did before. And it sounds strange, but for me it's a bit of a gift. So it allows me to feel those moments of gratitude. And I love how we keep using the word moments. um to use to have those moments of gratitude for the small things. Even now that I've been living in Madrid now for almost 14 years, and I walk down the street thinking, what a beautiful city. How lucky I am to be living here. Yeah, the weather is fantastic. Look at the clouds in the sky. All those kind of things while I'm running to a meeting, still living the regular human life. But I think it does allow me to realize that I'm a passenger here, and that this is a temporary experience, and to cherish it a little bit more.
What a message for all of us to cherish every moment a little bit more. And we're going to take our first break, and we'll be back with Elizabeth DeCivo. And you can learn more and, of course, grab a copy of her book at chooseyourmoments.net. We'll be back in a moment, my friends.
Inspiration for a Woman's Soul. Aspire Magazine, inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, and with me today is Elizabeth DeCivo, author of Choose Your Moments, How the Sudden Loss of My Mother Taught Me How to Live. And right before the break, we were talking about cherishing those moments. And I'm curious, how long, after you wrote the book, which I know just recently came out, how have you been applying the moments message in your own life? And you shared a little bit about like walking down the street and just cherishing all that is around you. Any other insights you'd like to share?
Yes, thank you. So I'm asking myself, I'm calling it the moments method. And I'm asking myself on a daily basis, on a sometimes hourly basis, depending on what you're doing. How do I want to spend my moments doing this? Do I want to spend my moments having this conversation, working on this project, spending time with this person, cleaning the house? And sometimes the answer when it's cleaning the house is yes, this is enjoyable. I like to have a clean house, but it really makes me reflect on that my moments are a gift. And how do I want to spend them? How do I want to approach them? What do I want to get out of them? And it's really just kind of framing the mindset. One of the intentions, or the intention of the book, is to redefine the word moments from a point in time into a tool that we can use to enrich our lives. And so I'm using it as a tool, as to ask myself, do I want to be spending my moments doing this? And if the answer is no, I need to make another choice. And that's something that I think is important as well. And I used it in my, let's call it grief recovery, is choice, willingness, and intention. And we have the choice on how we're going to face any situation, and we have the choice on how we want to live. And sometimes that we have to be willing to make those choices. We have to intend to make those choices. But sometimes it's as simple as asking yourself a question of, do I want to be spending my moments doing this? And if the answer is no, making a choice to change it. I've included inside the book, there's 80 quotes with explanations, all of them using the word moments to show people how practical it can be to implement that into your everyday life.
I love this because it's conscious living, it's intentional living, and that's what my brains are about, intentional life, intentional business. It's making every moment count, right? And not going what I like to call when you're just like on the hamster wheel, don't even know where you're going. You just keep doing the same thing over and over every day because it became a pattern, but you're not awake in your own life. Your book and your message, and it sounds like as you're sharing, it's about helping people be more conscious in their own life so they can co-create their life instead of live it by default.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, we tend to go on automatic pilot, and it's not a surprise with the amount of things we all do in a day, and the messagings that comes in. All the media and social media and all of that. All that we have so much happening in our everyday lives that sometimes we just go on automatic pilot. And what I'm hoping is that people will understand this message, integrate it into their lives before they lose somebody, before they experience something that is difficult, because I think it would help to equip them to handle something difficult as well that may come, but also to enjoy this journey. And I hope those that have lost people would feel accompanied in the short story that I start out with in the book, that they would feel accompanied in that loss, because we each experience it differently, and it can be very hard, but it's soul searching sometimes. And this is what has come out of my grief, which is that I'm understanding that life is a series of moments, and we get to choose how we live them. And I understand that my mother brought me here, my mother and my father, he's still alive, luckily, but that they brought me to this world, and she's not here anymore in physical form, but she would want me to be enjoying living well and helping others.
Oh my God, yeah, and that's what your book does. And if you have it handy, I'd love to hear just a couple of your favorite quotes and why you chose them.
Well, my all-time favorite quote, yes, I have it handy. I always have it handy, but my all-time favorite quote is, "You are the artist and you are the masterpiece." And that is one of my favorite quotes, because I do believe that we can create our own lives, and that goes back to conscious living and making choices and being intentional. So that is one of my favorites. Also, where I catch myself quite often is, I have a quote that's called, "The difference between reacting and responding is just a few seconds." And then the explanation is, "We will all find ourselves in difficult situations and heated conversations. Taking the time to think about what you will say or do next will make the difference in your future moments." So the idea there is to, even in the bad situations, even in the middle of the arguments, to stop and be present. So you can make the next correct choice and not have it go further, because we, not only on automatic pilot, but we can sometimes react very quickly instead of responding.
That's an important one. I love what you said. Um, it's taken that moment to choose your reaction, but it was what you said after that. It's creating your future moments. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's a message kind of behind the message in the book, that I want, the explanations of the quotes are there to show people that how they can integrate it into your everyday moments. And actually you have a lot more control over, or control and power over your moments. So it's to empower people on how they're living their moments, and and that can be done on a day to day or moment by moment basis.
Yeah, and the whole big thing about reacting and responding, um, when we're teaching I have taught the grandchildren that about always think, are you acting from love, fear, anger? Like you get to choose your reaction. I like
Exactly.
responding because, of course, it's from the energy of love and gentleness. It doesn't mean giving up your truth. So when you wrote this book, how did you envision the reader going through it? Is it something that they read right through? Is it something that they tap into like every morning? What was your intention?
I would say both. I tell people you can sit and read it in one sitting, but I have people who are using it as a tool every day. So you can wake up in the morning or whenever throughout your day and open to any page, and that is your quote for the day or for the week, and try to implement it into your life. So people have been doing both, and I would recommend obviously reading the story to understand what the message of the moment's message, and then utilizing it as a tool that you can use every day, every week.
I love that because I'm big on, let's say just feeling a little off, not grounded, whatever it may be. I love to grab a book intuitively, choose a title, flip a page and know that the exact message I need will be on that page, or whatever page I open to. And that's what it reminds me of as you're describing the book is there is so much wisdom. It's going to help them create a new moment from a new consciousness.
That has been the exciting thing that I have been doing with clients is it depending on what they're talking about, and I ask them to open the book. And it's incredible how you said the right message comes through for them. It's so interesting how that happens. So yes, that's what I'm hoping, that it's, beyond just a book that you read and put in your beautiful bookshelf or on your nightstand, but something a tool that you use. And that's what I say, that I want to redefine the word moments from a point in time into a tool that you use to enhance your life.
I love that. And you mentioned clients. So in what ways are you working with clients in case any of our listeners um, are curious?
Oh, thank you. Yes, so I'm doing coaching for clients, for companies, but also for individuals. And I'm using what I'm calling the moments method, which is integrating this moments message from the book, as well as the quotes and the explanations, which can act as 80 different types of coaching exercises. I chose 80 because my mom lived 80 years. So there's 80 quotes with 80 explanations and insights.
I love that. And it sounds like it's like practices, right? It isn't just meant to read an inspirational quote. It's read it, then there's the explanation, and then like bring it into your
And then
life.
exactly, integrating it into your life. I have to keep I'm embarrassed to say, but I have to keep rereading the one which is try compassion before condemning. And then the explanation is, we are sometimes quick to judge or label someone before exploring further. Opening your heart and mind to compassion will bring you more moments of connection. And I notice that I have to keep opening up to that page. Oh my goodness, I'm judging, I'm judging. So it's interesting to see how even when you're conscious of it, you still need the quotes to remind you to what to apply into your everyday life.
Yeah, well, think of it. I mean, that's all of us. I always believe we teach what we most need to learn,
Yes,
right?
that's true.
Oh, I found it in my own life. I've been doing this, well, some aspect of my businesses for 32 years, and I always say my businesses have been my greatest personal and spiritual development tools because you learn so much about yourself, your shadows, your blocks, your beliefs, and it's been a beautiful journey. So before we go to the next break, I want to invite everyone to visit chooseyourmoments.net. Grab a copy of her book, Choose Your Moments, How the Sudden Loss of My Mother Taught Me How to Live, and stay in touch. Follow her on social media. And we're going to be back in a moment, my friends.
Are you ready to create and live the divinely guided life intended for you? A life not bound by your past or tied to a specific future. A life beyond your fears and what-ifs that is filled with limitless possibilities. Experiencing an empowered life of fulfillment, joy, and connection is possible when you embrace a spiritual solutions-centered lifestyle. Through her transformational teachings and programs, Lisa Hermata, Empowered Life View Guide, life transformation mentor and founder of Love is the Seed, empowers women to break the barriers holding them back from living their sacred truth so they can find greater connection with their inner wisdom and their divine source to co-create a life that brings peace, joy, and self-acceptance. Visit loveistheseed.com for positive guidance and valuable resources to support you in embracing an empowered life view.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Thanks for being with us here in this moment. With me today is Elizabeth DeCivo, author of Choose Your Moments, and we're talking about how making a conscious choice in every moment, as Elizabeth said, is really creating our future moments. And when I say that, you know what I feel in my body? It's like it's always creating the energy of the future moments, right? So when we react, then those future moments are going to be dense and heavy because we're not coming from our higher self. And when we respond, those future moments could be filled with love, compassion, gratitude. Is that how you feel as you teach it too?
Yes, I mean, I feel that the idea here is to empower people to live the best moments possible and to enrich our lives moments. And when we go through the quotes or any of the coaching exercise, it is to be conscious and make the choice as you move into the next moment of your life, because it's a moment by moment decision. And so the power of positive thinking, having an intention, honing in the energy towards the life that you want to live moment by moment. So yes, I agree with you, and that's why I use the word choose your moments in the title, because we are empowered to choose how we live our moments.
So true, and it is empowering, is it? Once you get that moment of awareness that, hey, I get to choose to respond from a place of love instead of the old stories of reaction. So we're going to switch gears a little bit because you're living in Spain, girl. So I want to hear,
Yes, we should be doing this interview here with you here in
yeah,
Madrid.
tell us what led you to follow your dream over to Spain.
Well, yeah, that is very funny. It's the we joke in my family, it's the $1,000,000 question. So what led me to move to Spain was I had visited here many times and absolutely loved it. And I wanted to move. And I used to say, oh, if I only had the job of my life, I would move to Spain. Or if I only had the man of my life, I would move to Spain. I don't have either. So I think I'm just gonna move to Spain.
I
So
love
it was the conscious choice of I don't need anything but my own desire to be able to make that change. So and it was a big life change, obviously. I moved here not 100% sure of what I would do, but I had the intention of, let me see if I can build a life here and what would it be like. And I really loved it. It was in 2011 and the Spain was in a crisis, basically, economic crisis at that time. And I do remember people saying to me, "Oh, I don't, you're crazy to come here now. There's no jobs. We're in a crisis." And then in Spanish, they say crisis. So we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis. And I used to say to them, "Your crisis has nothing to do with me. I've
mm,
come here with an intention to build a life, to learn a language, to learn a culture. I want to live in Europe. I chose this country. So crisis or no crisis, it's irrelevant. And I made the very conscious choice to build a life here. And it's almost 14 years now that I've been living here. And it's great to live here.
and I love it because I love what you said before, like your desire was enough. A lot of us do that to our dreams, don't we? When I have this or when I do this, then I'll do this. Well, that's like putting off every moment that you could.
Exactly.
And so it's almost
Exactly.
like even before this book came out, you were choosing how to live your moments.
Yes, that's why my favorite quote is "You are the artist and you are the masterpiece," because I do feel that I have designed my life to go very well with my personality, with my desires, with my likes, and which meant moving to Madrid, Spain. I worked with Olympic figure skaters in the past, and then I pursued a new career here. So I've consciously made that decision of I will design my life, not what society tells me, not what my parents might want, not what, somebody else says about being in a crisis or not. I dictate how my life will go. And I think believing and having that conscious willingness and intention and making those choices can lead you there.
And I love that. And you brought up working in the past with Olympic figure skater athletes. What's one thing you learned from working with them?
Oh, wow. Talking about, there's a lot of things I learned from them, but one in particular that I would say is about focus. So athletes have to be very focused to achieve their, especially when they're in competition and competitive athletes, the ability to focus and hone their energy talk about in the moment, about in their training, in their performance, in the competition, they're extremely focused in the moment. And, and I think it's a great lesson for all of us. And it's interesting because we celebrate them and we idolize them and we follow them, and what they're doing is what I used to call working the fundamentals, which is they are just repetitive action of focus on what it is that they want, and what their vision is. They vision to win, they vision to have the best performance, they vision their bodies to be in the best health and strength and conditions. And we can learn a lot from that because we see that their success in doing that.
I love that. And that's powerful moment of awareness for you about focusing. And you did that though, because you had the vision, you stayed focused on it despite the crises going on in Spain, and
Yeah.
you created the life you desired, just like they created their success and careers.
Even being able to start working with figure skaters. I mean, I was working at Turner Broadcasting at the time in public relations, and I was a figure skating fan, as many people were back in 1994 with the Tanya Nancy scandal that made it quite popular on TV. And I would imagine myself working in figure skating. I would imagine myself doing the press conferences, prepping them for press conferences, and getting sponsorships for them. And I would visualize that as I would walk to work, and I would see in Times Square, oh, wouldn't it be great for a figure skater to be there? And I had an idea for a commercial or whatever it may be. And it was something that felt really good to me when I thought about it. When let's call it, at that time, I didn't know that I was specifically visualizing, but I was daydreaming. And, I felt obviously great in doing it. And wouldn't you know it, all those opportunities to be able to get into that world showed up in my life, and I made the choice to take advantage of them.
I love this. I love how you've really consciously created your life. And you've been traveling throughout the world. So what has traveling taught you?
It's incredible. I always say wherever we are, or wherever I am, when I leave, this will still be here. Whether it's a monument, a tree, a building. So that it's amazing to see life in so many places at the same time. So while I'm living here in Spain and you're in the US, places that I've been to and that you've been to in Japan or throughout Europe or Latin America, the life is still happening there. So it does show you that the world is so much bigger than what you think it is, even though it's smaller in the sense that we can connect with each other easily and physically and also via Zoom and all of that. But to see how the life is happening around us, and there's so much out there, infinite opportunities, infinite wisdom, infinite opportunities to be happy and joyful, and things to learn and to experience. And it really opens you up past whatever tunnel vision we tend to get into in our own lives.
Yeah, tunnel vision. That was me when I was younger, right? I just wanted to stay in the box because it felt safe, especially in my 20s and 30s. I've been an entrepreneur for 32 years. I was on welfare when Nikki was young. She's now 40. And I got off welfare and opened my first business. But for a long time, I didn't want to go outside that box because it felt so safe to know my world. I don't just mean my physical world, like my location. Do you feel that the travel has taught you to live outside that box, right, of constraints of what society puts on us?
Oh, yes. I think it helps a lot because you see so many different schools of thought. So we grow up with one in what our maybe our immediate family or our community or our society, the influence that they may have on us. But then you move to another country and the school of thought is completely different. And then another one and it's different and another one and it's different. So one isn't right and one isn't wrong. You just see that there are so many perspectives out there and so many different ways of living. So I think it's helped me to feel more comfortable in the fact that of making my own choices of what I feel is best for me, despite any school of thought from any area of the world.
I
So
love that.
it's been extremely helpful.
A great life lesson for all of us too. And if you had a message to give your younger self or to young people that may be listening right now, what piece of wisdom would you share?
Follow your intuition.
Mm.
Listen to yourself. I was on a panel and they had asked me, what would you tell your younger self now? And it was quite interesting because I was listening to the other speakers say things like, oh, you'll be okay, or, you're better than you think, and things like that. And my answer immediately was, good thing, to tell my younger self, good thing you listened to you. Look where you are now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I wish I knew that. Now that you're saying that, I wish I knew that younger. Now I live my life by divine downloads, intuition. I have a deep trust in my knowings, but I wish someone had told me that was possible back in my 20s and 30s when I was struggling. So it's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Well, I hope that's, another attention of this book that I hope that people will read it and feel more confident in themselves and understand that they are empowered for their lives. And I have a quote in the book that says, when you're moved by your message, you create movement. And the explanation is that is the intention of this book, creating a movement and awareness of how precious our moments are and guiding us to live them in the best way possible. So I hope that this book sparks some movement where people in their 20s or 30s or at any age realize that they're empowered to live their lives the way they want and that it's never too late. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
whether that happens when you're young or older, it's your moments are now, and it's never too late to empower yourself to live them well.
Mm, I love that wisdom, my friend. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about your definition, which I have in front of me, which I think is so beautiful. We will be back in a moment, my friends. Be sure to visit Elizabeth DeCivo at chooseyourmoments.net. And of course, grab a copy of her book, Choose Your Moments. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you feeling called to clear your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual blockages? That's your soul and environment speaking to you and asking you to uncover all the clutter that is preventing you from living the life you envision. Felicia Messina DeHady, soul coaching master practitioner and trainer and teacher of advanced interior alignment and medicine wheel feng shui, supports her international clientele by creating inner and outer transformation in their environments and their lives by combining elements from her extensive training, experience, and intuition. Felicia is a master intuitive coach, certified by Colette Baron Reed, and has served as a master mentor for Denise Lin's Elemental Space Clearing certification course, as well as her Ultimate Clutter Clearing. Explore her offerings, including certification courses in Feng Shui, space clearing, soul coaching, and Reiki at FeliciaDeHady.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm so glad that you chose to be here with us in this moment, my friends. So, Elizabeth, I was on your website a couple days ago, and you have this, and it just really spoke to me. A moment is a point of reflection, a chance to pivot, a reminder to live your life with intention, to be willing to make the choices that will bring you more rewarding experiences. Great moments are always available to us and in all ways. And that really spoke to me. I think it's just beautifully encapsulates what your mission is with this book.
Yes, thank you. It is, I'm calling it the Moments Movement now, right? That because it is an opportunity for us to just stop and listen, change if we need to change, pivot, as I say in the book, and live our lives well and happy. And we have that control. We are empowered to live the best moments possible. And I want to redefine the word moments again from a point in time into a tool. This is a tool that we can use on a moment by moment basis to enhance our lives.
What's beautiful about it is while we're here, we have unlimited moments to pivot and change and make new choices, right? So it's like navigating life with this self compassion. Like, okay, maybe I didn't get the last moment right, but I got a new one right now to make a new choice.
Exactly, and that's the one of the beauties of life, right? That we always have another choice. We always have another moment. Uh, if we don't do it right the first time, we can we can choose again. If it doesn't work, choose again, choose again, choose again.
Ah, that's powerful. And I was reading too some of the key points that my listeners and your readers will learn when they grab a copy of Choose Your Moments. And it's about like the significance of making conscious choices and shaping your future. And that one really speaks to me because one thing about my clients is like, are you consciously choosing your life or are you creating it by default? Right. And,
Exactly.
and once you have that moment of awareness of, oh my God, I think I'm creating it by default, you get to make a new choice. And as you share, every moment we get a new choice. And then you share in the book techniques to convert those everyday moments into powerful experiences. I love that. I love that you share. I love that you give them almost like an explanation case study of what each quote means, because the quotes themselves are powerful and beautiful, but then helping them understand the depth of the teaching so they can bring it into their own life. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, quotes, I love quotes because by nature they're meant to be extremely impactful. So when you read a quote, you usually get impacted by it. And the explanations or insights are set up so people can see the practical use. So sometimes quotes may sound amazing and beautiful, but oh, how am I going to apply that to my everyday life? And each quote has an explanation to show you how easy that is to apply it and how it will affect your moments.
Yeah, and I think that's key, is the integration as you and
Yes, because
we both have.
sometimes people read books and then they put them away. So this book is designed for you to integrate this message into your life. That's why I say, you can read it in one setting, although I don't know if you'll remember all 80 quotes from after reading it in one setting. But then once on a daily basis or a weekly basis, pick it up, have that quote as your quote for the day over the week and find your ways to work it into your daily life. As I was saying earlier, there's a few that I stumble upon, like, I need to use that.
And even though you're the author of the book, you're still learning from all of the wisdom that you shared, because that's what life is about, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. And and there's a quote in the book that says the true expert is the one that's willing to learn. And I think that as we grow and live and expand, we're always learning. So when I wrote these quotes plus explanations, they had one meaning to me. And now as I'm integrating them into my life and helping my clients integrate them into their lives, they take on new meanings and it can expand and expand. So, the learning never stops.
No, I'm an avid learner myself, so I can't imagine. I am always, always listening to audiobooks now, but for 25 years, part of my healing transformational journey is I read 2 books a week for
Wow.
25 years. Sometimes the same book over and over because if it spoke to my soul, I really wanted to integrate it, and that's what this book is about. It's about that integration, about, um, changing the way of being because I know for myself, I did go through life on autopilot back then. And I got to tell you, ladies, don't judge yourself if you're there. Grab a copy of Choose Your Moments because when you are in the moment, it is the most delicious, rich moment that it's beautiful. Like I experienced early this morning that I put the video up on my personal Facebook page. It was so precious to be fully in that moment. I can't explain it. There's an energy about it. And,
I understand completely, and I'm so grateful. Actually, I mean, I wish that my mother was still alive, but I'm so grateful for that experience that I had the evening before her funeral with her, to really understand the power of the moment and how to move forward in my life. So it's, it's sad when you lose anybody, and when you lose a parent, you feel that obviously you feel a loss. But she left me with such a gain of how you're going to live from this moment forward. And it's amazing that it came from my mother who brought me here and also left me with this incredible message of how will I live now? And,
yeah,
as I say in the book, that realizing that often the things we think matter don't, and that all that matters are the moments.
yeah, and I got this energetic vision a moment ago. It's like she co-wrote this book with you. She is
Oh,
on your
yes, for sure.
oh my
For
God, yeah.
sure.
It's like she is going, okay, girl, we gotta get this book going. So I feel she was
Exactly. Well, she was an avid
with you
reader,
the
so
whole
I
time.
exactly. I think she would love the fact that there is a book, and I when I was trying to come up with how to explain well the what had happened and the message that I got, I was walking in Altea, which is in Spain, the beach in Spain, and I literally heard the introduction in my head, and I ran back to the hotel room and just wrote it out, and I was like, well, okay, thanks. There we go. Now I got the message. So
Yeah.
what's next? So yes, I do feel that she obviously was a huge part of this. And for those who will see the book, there is a necklace on the cover. It's a locket, and it's my mother's locket that she had for and wore for over 50 years. So I included that on the cover. So that is kind of her stamp there.
Yeah, I just think, out of grief and loss came such love and a mission, and that means, and I believe, as you believe, that they're never gone. They're always here with us. So, I believe she's going on book tours and she's with us on this show right now going, "Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm in this
Exactly. And
book."
telling
Yeah.
everybody, read our book, read our book. But I also hope that it can be an example for people who are going through loss, because loss is and grief is obviously a very uncomfortable and difficult experience. And to see that there can be inspiration, happiness on the other side.
I love this, and it is a powerful book because it covers so much. We're talking about the moments, it talks about grief and loss, but this book can also be used for any type of transition, right? Relationship
Any
transition.
type of transition, and I included the title inspiration for everyday life, because there the messages, the quotes and the explanations cover almost everything, everything from forgiveness to business to success to failure, health, relationships, love, vulnerability, courage. I mean, it's all there. What all that we experience in our everyday lives. So hopefully people will be able to feel accompanied by the message of the book, especially if they have experienced a loss, and then be able to use the quotes and explanations as a way to handle their everyday life and all the different aspects, your health, wealth, profession, relationships, whatever it may be. It's all there. It's all inside.
What a beautiful message, my friend. And I want to invite everyone to visit chooseyourmoments.net, grab a copy of the book, and inside the book is a QR code to receive a special gift from Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, I just want to say thank you for following your inspiration, writing this book. It's so needed. It's a beautiful reminder and such a beautiful legacy for your mom to continue on too. So thank you for joining me today, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share it. I appreciate it a lot.
Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.